G'day folks and welcome to the Vookcast, Australia's Nintendo podcast. My name's Oliver Brandt and with me this week are Angelo Valdivia.
What's up, everyone?
Luke Anderson.
Howdy.
And Michael Goncalves.
Hey team.
We've got a great episode lined up for you. It's the first episode of the year. So this is all about the year that's passed, the year ahead, and what we think Nintendo has in store for us all. We're not doing any news because there isn't any news. So let's just get stuck in. So at the start of every year on the Vookcast, we like to make some predictions about what we think is going to happen with Nintendo in the year ahead. And we did, well, I think we did better than previous years in our last year's predictions.
I mean, if we sum up
that's
all our prediction scores, yeah, we did pretty well as a group.
Yeah.
It was my first year and I did spectacularly well.
So yeah, let's talk about the predictions that we had last year, just to see what we got right. Let's start with Michael, because I mean you got 0 points. Let's put it that way. You got none. So your predictions, Michael, were that there were going to be Zelda HD Switch ports, which obviously did not happen. You had no suggestions as to what games, but you said that there would be 3DS games that would be ported onto Switch. And you said that Mario Party Superstars will get DLC in the first half of 2022, which was a bold prediction at the time. But like,
that was a definite pipe dream.
Yeah, so obviously none of that happened. Of the three there, Michael, which do you think is the most disappointing?
Or most disappointing. I think from a potential point of view, I reckon the 3DS ports on the Switch. Mostly because I think like Zelda HD Switch ports are probably going to happen, as we may see in the future. Wink, wink. And the Superstars DLC, realistically, that was just me being like, please, it's anyone, just give us another map and another game board, thank you. But I feel like there are some great 3DS games that really could just do with a 3DS conversion that people would miss out on.
I think we need to give you like 0.1 of a point, because there have been some Mario Kart 7 3DS tracks ported to Switch.
That is true.
I mean, stretching a technicality there, but you know.
See, for me, of all your suggestions, I mean, like, I think obviously the 3DS ports were disappointing and the Zelda ports were disappointing. But I think, like, for me, the combined possibility of them both is disappointing, because I would really love to play A Link Between Worlds again, but I'm not going to dig out my 3DS for that. So, yeah. My predictions, I said that there would be a new Xenoblade Chronicles game, but it wouldn't be Xenoblade Chronicles 3. I was half right on that. I don't know why I included that it wouldn't be 3. I was just like, spitballing. I could have just said, oh yeah, there'll be a new Xenoblade game, and I would have gotten like 4 points for that. Yeah, not so much. But there was a new Xenoblade Chronicles game. It was great. Everybody should play it. Find my review on Vooks. I also said that there would be a sequel to 1-2 Switch that nobody wanted, which did not happen. But
because nobody wanted it. So you got a half a point for that one, because nobody wants a sequel to 1-2 Switch.
But I mean, there has been reporting from like, reliable sources that says that like Nintendo was working on one, and then it just like got slammed by focus groups in early testing. So, maybe that's true, maybe it's not.
I mean, let's face it, if they used some of their best ideas in the first one, I would hate to see what some of the ideas were for the second one.
I think the most important question is, will it be called 1-2 Switch 2 or 3-4 Switch? They're the only two options that are available.
According to this reporting, it was supposed to be called Everybody's 1-2 Switch, which is just the worst name.
Okay, yeah, get out.
Which makes me think it's real, because like it's the kind of thing that Nintendo would do.
It's a Nintendo name, yeah.
Big time.
I also said that there would be an OLED Switch Lite, which is basically just a Switch Lite with a slightly better battery life and an OLED screen that was roughly the same size as the OG Switch screen, which did not happen, and I'm very disappointed about, because I like the Switch Lite, and a bigger, better screen on it would be really great. And like at this point, it's like way too late for me to like invest in like an OLED Switch. Like, I may as well just live with what I've got.
Maybe we'll get like a late gen Game Boy Micro type release with the Switch.
A Switch Lite.
But I mean, like that came like after the DS came out, and like if
Yeah.
there's gonna be like another one of those, then I'll just buy whatever the next system is, and not the late gen cheap one.
I'm pretty sure the Micro had faceplates, right? So what if they have a Switch
does, yeah.
Micro with faceplates?
Stop.
I mean, I guess. All right, Angelo. You said that there would be nothing new about Metroid Prime 4, including
Ka-ching!
the existing logo, which did not count.
Nailed it.
Yeah, you got it dead on. You also said that there would be rumors of a next-gen Switch, which, I mean, like, that was the safest prediction.
Totally.
I mean, there's always rumors for a next gen. I feel like that was.
I feel like that shouldn't count. Quite frankly, I'll give it to you, but like, I feel like there's literally one every day.
Yeah, look, looking back on it, that was a I can't even believe that went through. Like, to be honest, I'm gonna blame you guys for letting that one slide. But no. Look, I'm happy to not take points for that one.
No, definitely take points.
Okay, I'll leave it up to the committee to decide on that one.
Yeah, you can take the points for it, but like, we're not going to allow like those easy kinds of predictions again.
No.
Points.
You may as well have
be
just said,
happy
like-
about it.
Yeah, you may as well have just said like, oh, Nintendo will release financial data. Like it was guaranteed to happen.
Exactly. Yeah. Looking back.
You also said that over 2022 there wouldn't be more than one drop of games on the NES or Super Nintendo NSO apps, and was
lost this
immediately
hard.
proven wrong.
I lost this hard
It's like-
the next week.
The week after the episode came out, they like
My
dropped
God.
new games on the NES and then Super Nintendo as well.
Dude, I was so confident on that. When was the last time we had a drop on those systems? I'm so out of the loop now.
At this point,
November?
yeah,
Sorry, say that again.
November.
Really? What games? Oh, I'll have to look that up myself then. I'll just be a big boy.
I think it was like
Oh, no, sorry.
Some-
November
some-
was the Master System. It would have been September.
Mega Drive,
would
yeah.
have been.
yeah, so September.
Yeah, sorry, you piqued
So
my
it's-
interest then when you said Master System.
God, can you imagine?
I could.
This is a tangent, but it's probably just thing. I love that Earthworm Jim 1 is on the Sega Master System app, and Earthworm Jim 2 is on the Super Nintendo app.
Yeah, it's because of a weird licensing thing, because like they were both published by different companies, and they both
assume
like,
you mean
separately licensed.
The Mega Drive app, unless I've really forgotten the timeline release of Earthworm Jim 1.
This Sega application as part of NSO, that one.
I think that prediction was my favorite one, just because it's so classically Angelo pessimistic. Like it's just beautiful.
And the world just slams me down. But yeah, no, okay. Like, all right, 2 points.
Yeah, I mean, you
I'm
did the
impressed.
best of
I'm surprised.
anyone, I think.
You got infinitely more points than I got.
I mean, Luke did fairly well. I think he got 2 points ish as well.
So what were Luke's predictions?
1.5, I think, but yeah.
Yeah, so Luke said that Next Level Games were going to do a new sports title for Switch, either a new Strikers entry or something else, and we did indeed get a new Strikers entry. Whether or not that entry is any good is up for debate, but there was a new Strikers entry. They also said that Grezzo would bring Oracle of Ages / Season / whatever the third game was to Switch, and that did not happen, sadly. And he also said that a new Fire Emblem game would be announced, set in a more modern era. Now, you're kind of half right on that last one, because they did announce a new Fire Emblem game. But
Well, didn't they announce two?
Actually,
Wasn't
like
Three
your-
Hopes announced back in like February?
yes. But that's a Fire Emblem Warriors game, so
Yeah, no, I'm taking Engage.
yeah. So yeah, it is a new Fire Emblem game. It's not really set in a more modern era from what it looks like. It's still just the same like high fantasy stuff that we've always had. But you know,
Same as your Xenoblade Chronicles one. You just could have left out
Yeah.
that last part. And just
yeah,
got it right.
absolutely right. It
Full
was
point.
the specificity that like did us in.
I'll be honest, I thought that because I thought maybe they'll do something like a World War One Fire Emblem,
Oh god.
The codename Steam, basically.
I
except
think-
without any of the crap from Codename Steam.
I don't think we're getting any Nintendo games based on real world wars anytime soon.
No, that's never gonna happen.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go into this year's predictions. So I mean, like, obviously,
What-
Angelo.
Wait, so how many points did we get each then? So Michael got none. Ollie, you got one
Thanks.
or half?
I got
Sorry.
half of one.
half of one. I got 2. What did Luke get? 1 or 1.5?
1.5.
1.5.
Okay.
So you did the best, Angelo, but you also had like the easiest.
Angelo
Yeah,
won
yeah,
with
yeah,
his
yeah.
the sun
Easiest
rises
free
in
point.
the east predictions.
Yeah. Okay. So that's what we've got to beat this year. Then
I
we've got to beat
personally
ourselves.
like to think that everyone was a winner. Definitely.
as a collective unit, we won.
Let's say that. So let's move into this year's predictions, which hopefully will be a little more difficult to score points on, or maybe hopefully not. Like if all of these come true, then good for us. So we're gonna do these sort of one at a time. We've each got 3 predictions, and then a 4th prediction, which is like extremely out there and definitely not gonna happen, but like we can dream, right? So we're gonna go through like one by one. Each person says one, and then we'll move on to the second one, etc., etc. So Michael, tell us your first prediction.
All right, boys, listen up. This is the year. It's finally going to happen. We're going to see some footage of Metroid Prime 4. It's not going to release. We're not even going to get a release date. It might not even be gameplay footage. but there's going to be some footage of Metroid Prime 4 released this year, 2023.
So do we want? So how specific do we want to get with this then? Are we saying it's going to be like leaked footage of the original Prime 4, or are we going to say that it's like properly released footage from Nintendo of the current version?
That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm leaving myself. Look, looking at last year's predictions, I'm doing the smart play. No specificity.
Okay.
All right. So my first prediction is that Metroid Prime 4 is going to release this year, which I realize that if that is true, then Michael gets a point as well. So Michael's really hedged his bets on this one. But yeah, I genuinely think, it's been 4 years since they last spoke about it. 4 years since they said that they were redoing it, and they keep on saying, "Oh no, we're still working on it." But I think this is the year that it's actually going to release. I think they've just been keeping really quiet, not talking about it until it's done. And I think we're reaching that point where it's done now. So,
to be fair, Michael could not get a point, and you could get a point if they just like shadow drop the game and never release a trailer.
There'll be like footage of people playing the game.
There's footage of the game.
I think we should classify that to be footage.
Nope.
Released by a company.
We're way past my prediction. It's over. I was set in stone.
Fine.
All right, Angelo, give us your first prediction.
All right, mine's all right. So completely unrelated. Metroid Prime 4 and Nintendo's next-gen console will be announced for 2024. I'm not saying that there will necessarily be that Metroid Prime 4 is going to be like a launch game for it. It could be. I'm just saying that they will release next year.
That would be an incredible launch title for the next-gen console.
I think if they're releasing Zelda this year, and that was such a great launch title, but they're releasing that game this year, they need something big for a launch game. And if there's going to be a new Switch next year, and Metroid Prime 4 has been in development for 4 years, it'll be 5 years by next year. At that point, like, it would be the perfect game.
Okay, but you say like they need something big for launch, and like Metroid Prime is not a big game. People don't care about Metroid. It could be for sure.
Metroid, yes, but I think Metroid Prime 4, though, considering how long that's been in development and how big that series kind of got over time, it was like the only real GameCube shooter to own. And shooters generally do really, really well.
I think that says more about the GameCube than it does about Metroid Prime.
I mean,
I will not
Road
take
Agent?
this sledging of GameCube in this chat. Time Splitters 2 existed, people.
I think it could potentially be like a really heavy hitter if it is a launch game, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. I'm just saying.
I mean, this is not part of it, but I want to ask you: do you think it'll be a hedge title released on Switch and whatever the next console is, or do you think it's going to be next gen only?
I don't know really. It's kind of hard to say. I mean, Breath of the Wild straddled both, and that's a big open world game. Like, I don't see why this is as a first person shooter, unless this also somehow goes open world as well. Like, I don't see how it couldn't be on both systems, but yeah.
All right, and Luke, give us your first prediction.
My first prediction is for a small game. You've probably not heard of it yet, but it's Metroid Prime 4 will get revealed in April and released in September. So I've gone the opposite of Michael. I've gone for specific on both points.
Yeah, so we actually didn't plan this at all. We actually just happened to all make Metroid Prime 4 predictions, which is hilarious.
Look,
Yeah.
Nintendo, we thirst for the Prime. Just give it to us.
I mean, look, like if we talk about the statistics, 100% of Switch owners on this podcast would buy Metroid Prime 4. So, you know, take that to the full extreme, and like all 110 million Switch owners are probably going to buy that game.
Even
It's
if
a
only
proven
10% of Switch owners buy that game, that would be a massive thing for Metroid. But
It
And
would
look,
be,
I think we quite sensibly represent the white enough male demographic of Switch owners anyway. So
true. I honestly just think though that Prime 4 has to get some sort of release date information this year, whether it releases this year or it's like Angelo said, comes out next year. Purely because if the game's been in development for so long, and Retro Studios, the last original game they made was Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze for Wii U. They ported that game to Switch. But their last originally developed title was Donkey Kong Country for Wii U in 2014. This is now 9 years.
That was their last released, originally developed title. Because we know for sure that they had something else in development that was quite late in development and just hasn't made an appearance since.
But that's what I'm saying. So because that was their last game, it's been 9 years since they've released an original title, as in not a port of a game. And I don't know any company that would let a studio, not have something out after 9 years. So that's why I'm thinking it has to be something this year for it.
Well, if Nintendo would definitely be that studio, that would do that.
But also, like, pretty much every other big franchise in Nintendo's has had a release on the Switch so far. Like, we're not going to get a new Mario Kart anytime soon because they're putting out new content for that. We're going through our updates, our predictions at the moment, but like, there might be a new Mario game or something. But like, I don't think that they will have made a whole new Mario game between redoing development of Metroid Prime 4 and next year, if that makes any sense. I don't think they would have made a whole new Mario game in that time. I think Metroid will be the one to do.
Yeah, the only series that hasn't had a big thing is Donkey Kong.
Yeah, Donkey Kong hasn't had its own thing.
That had a re-release of Tropical Freeze, but you're right, it hasn't had a new entry.
I think it's a perfect opportunity for Donkey Konga to come back, quite frankly.
Donkey Kong 94, thank you. I'm still beating that drum.
If you play Donkey Konga, you'd be beating that drum for legit too.
Exactly, yeah. That was
Here's also a fun bonus prediction for everyone that I sincerely hope does not come true. I have like this nagging feeling that like Metroid Prime 4 is going to come out and just be like awful. I just have this feeling that it's just going to be terrible and not really that much fun to play. I'm really hoping that's not true, but like given that like there's basically nobody at Retro left who like worked on the original trilogy, it's a very real possibility. But that also like opens it up to being like fresh and new and exciting and interesting. So,
but here's a question for you. Here's a question: will it have single stick controls still, or will it be twin stick controls?
I think there's no way that they're going to release a Metroid Prime game in 2023 or 2024 without like proper twin stick first person shooter controls. It's just not going to happen.
Like I know it's different studios, but like I think Metroid Dread gives me hope that Prime will be good, just because I think they really nailed just not even like the gameplay or anything like that, just the vibe of Metroid in Metroid Dread. If they can just take that into a Prime game, I think that would be great.
Yeah, but maybe not so difficult, because like
and nothing Prime. Hunting you, please, for the love of God.
All right, so let's move on to our second set of predictions. Michael, take it away.
Yes, this is dumb. I don't know why I'm doing this, but I'm doing it. I'm rolling over my Zelda prediction from last year, and I think that this year, 2023, will be the year we'll finally get Wind Waker HD and Twilight Princess HD ported onto the Switch. So it'll be a triple Zelda year.
Okay, so when you say that, right, do you think that they'll be like sold together as like one package, or like sold separately? All three Zelda games released at $100 price point.
Look, I can't see them bundling them together. I can see them releasing them separately, maybe at a lower price point.
I can see them releasing them together. I mean, just like what they did with Super Mario 3D All Stars.
Yeah, but if they do bundle them together, it's going to be a limited time thing for sure. right?
I can
Like,
see them
Yeah.
doing it the Bayonetta way, where it's
definitely
$80
limited
for
time.
both games.
You definitely still won't be able to buy the game in 2023 at a local JB. Definitely not at all.
No.
but yeah, the Bayonetta suggestion is a good one. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like-
Bayonetta released, and if you only wanted one digitally, but then 6 months later you wanted the other one, you only paid the difference on the full retail price for getting the both of them. So, but I think that the Zelda things are possible because I want to believe that what were Tantalus Studios, the folks that did Twilight Princess HD, that they're working on it, and they've just finished doing a whole bunch of stuff for Microsoft with the Age of Empires definitive editions. So now that they're sort of done with all that, I think maybe they've got the people to spin that up.
Also, Tantalus has been expanding over the last year. They've hired a lot of people.
Hugely. They've opened
In
2 new
Australia.
studios, which is just like wild for a company that like.
Huge shame for those games, the HD masters, to be stuck on Wii U.
Absolutely.
I love Wii U, but like they're just a great ports of the games /
Absolutely.
remasters, and I think that they really deserve a wider release.
Yeah,
Yep.
and I really want to give Wind Waker another go because like I've dunked on that game for like years because I found the original like really tedious. But then like apparently the HD remaster like fixed a lot of the tedium that I hated about the game.
Yeah.
And like I really enjoyed the combat and like the art style of the game. So it was
I
just like
love the art style so much. It's beautiful.
Both releases on Wii U are absolutely superb. But like Michael said, like they're just time locked.
my second prediction. I think, and we sort of went into this. Every year, Vookcast also does an article predicting some things with like a silly degree of certainty that we think they'll have expressed as a percentage. And this is something that Vook and I talked a lot about before publishing that. And that's that there's going to be a bunch of DLC for all sorts of games and very little else. So like we
Ollie,
already
please read out your suggestion as you've written it.
Okay, I said that there's going to be fuck tons of DLC and not
Thank
much
you.
else. Yeah, no, we already know that there's going to be a bunch of DLC. So we know that like there's going to be DLC for Xenoblade Chronicles 3. There's going to be more Mario Kart DLC. There's going to be Fire Emblem DLC. And probably
Splatoon 3 is getting seasons.
there's Splatoon 3 DLC as well, and we know that there's a big expansion coming for that this year too. And like Pokemon's going to get DLC. Like it's going to 100% happen this year. So
And Mario Party, right? Right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, if they can release an online update for like that other game, Super Mario Party, like 3 years after release, like there's still a chance.
They'll release
And,
an update where they remove that feature.
They started doing like DLC for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe like 5 years after that came out, so it's never too late for a game to get DLC, but also no, it's never happening. But yeah, I think that like, I mean, Zelda will probably get like Tears of the Kingdom will probably get DLC as well, because
they'll probably
that
have a
worked
plan
so
for
well
DLC for this one too, unlike the last one where the game
Yeah.
did so well, and they were like, "Oh shit, we should do some DLC for this game."
A skeleton motorbike.
Or a tandem motorbike.
They'll have like a new game plus where you can actually play as Zelda, and then
I just had an expansion on Michael's idea that's really horrible, but one of those machines that drives around a golf course picking up the golf balls, but it's Koroks. She just drive all over Hyrule, flicking Koroks into a giant machine.
Man.
Yeah, we need a combine harvester for Link. Why not? But yeah, so I think there's going to be a bunch of DLC, and because of that, there's going to be like pretty light on like actual new releases of like new games.
Yeah.
But we'll obviously still get some new games. We always do, and we already know like a few of them for like, the first quarter, like Kirby and Fire Emblem and a whole bunch of other stuff. So yeah, it's probably going to be a lot of DLC though. Angelo, give us a prediction.
Mine's probably a bit of a simple one, so I'll leave it up to you guys once again to let this one slide or not. But there will be no Switch Pro this year again.
Yeah, so I think we can definitively say that the Switch Pro doesn't exist, or maybe never existed, or is just never going to happen. Like, we're just way too late in the generation for
So
a Switch Pro.
when you
to
say
exist
Switch Pro,
anymore.
do you mean like Switch 2? Or like whatever that, like the next gen console, or literally a Switch Pro?
I mean, like, a 0.5 step in this specific generation of the Switch.
So,
Like
so
similar
PS4
power
to
or whatever.
PS4 Pro.
Yeah, that kind of thing. So like people have
Yeah.
been banging on about a slightly more powerful Switch Switch or something like that. But I think that's pretty much done at this point. I think the next hardware iteration, like not just like a remodel of the current system, but an actual iteration, will be like the full next step.
I just want to throw it out. Last time Angelo was dead set certain on a prediction, he got screwed over a week later. So if the Switch Pro gets announced next week,
Tune into Nintendo's Direct next week where they'll announce the Switch Pro. But no, I think.
Could you imagine if they came out like, oh yeah, here's a Switch Pro, guys?
Goodness
That would be
me.
hilarious.
Can you please predict that I'll win Lotto? That'd be great.
But no, I think you're dead on the money there. I think like Switch Pro is like, it's dead in the water. Like it's just not happening. If it ever was happening, like it's certainly not happening anymore. Like it's gone. Which feels like a bit of a free one, but like, it's Nintendo, so they could
There's
really do
always a
anything.
possibility.
Yeah. Give us your third, Michael. A very hopeful one I'm looking at here.
I mean, I'd
Michael,
like to give
I'd
it
like
to
Luke to get his
first.
second one first.
Oh yeah, sorry, Luke.
How
And
would?
also an unhopeful one.
So my second prediction is that ND Cube, the developers of the Mario Party games, will announce a new Mario Party game for this year. And there will be no DLC included for this game.
I mean, I think that's a fair prediction.
What,
Because,
the no
like,
DLC? Because that's pretty on brand for them. But yeah.
Well, I mean, we had Super Mario Party in what, 2018, 2019?
2018, and then the year later in 2019, we got 51 Worldwide Games Clubhouse, whatever the hell they called that thing. And then 2 years later, we got Mario Party Superstars.
Yeah.
So
it
they
will
generally
be
go on a
2
2-year
years instead.
cycle.
So I think obviously they're gonna do something, and like it is not like unlike a lot of other franchises for Nintendo, like it's not uncommon for Mario Party games to get like multiple entries on the same platform. Like the GameCube has like 15 of them. Not quite that many, but it's got a few.
There's 4.
Yeah, there you go. So yeah, I think that's fair.
They could make Michael's dreams come true from last year and port the top 100 games 3DS title to Switch.
I'm not sure I remember that. I probably said it. It sounds like something else though.
Yeah, you definitely did say it. Anyway, Michael, give us your third one. A hopeful
yeah?
one I'm looking at here.
Yeah. Look. Yeah. So, this one is... Look, there is a small part of my heart that wishes this will happen, but I will concede that it's probably not going to happen, which is that Reboot Camp will release in the first half of this year. I just feel like... I don't know. They got to release it at some point. And like I understand the hesitation to like not release it. But I don't know. There's no good thing I can say about that they should release the game, but I want them to.
Yeah, so like obviously the optics were pretty bad around them releasing it, when it was originally supposed to release. So I can like definitely understand why they did it. But I feel like there was like kind of a lull in like releases at the second end of last year where they could have just like fit it in and nobody really would have given a shit. But I feel like the longer like this like Ukraine-Russia invasion shit goes on, like the more it looks bad for Nintendo to keep holding out, because then like when they eventually do release it, it'll look like bad taste regardless. So
I mean, so the guys here know, but I've been doing a whole bunch of preview articles on the big publishers, and there's like 6 studios for these publishers in Ukraine, and they're still actively making games. So if the folks that live in the country being invaded can still make games, a company halfway around the world can publish a game that's done.
The thing is, like, I don't even think like if it had released on the day that it was supposed to, I don't think the press or like social media would have been like, wow, Nintendo's being like so insensitive. They would have just been like, wow, here's this remaster of a game
I
that
don't think so
everybody
either.
loves. I think that was like Nintendo getting like too scared for its own boots there.
I mean,
it's
a
reboots.
Call of Duty game still released, and Warzone is still a thing. Like,
Yeah.
the game's literally called Warzone. Like, come on.
I think the difference is that like with Reboot Camp, like one of the countries and all the nations in it like was specifically a take on Russia.
Like,
I don't think it was like
I get it.
I don't think it's the case that it's a war game or anything. I think it's more that like
I mean,
in bad
EA
taste
are
it represents
keeping the
Russia.
content coming for Battlefield 2042, and one side of the conflict is Russia. So
Yeah, but
they're
But also, there's a
That's
big
EA.
series. But yeah, that's exactly. That's EA, whereas Nintendo is very much all about their self-image.
true.
But yeah, I mean, like it's I think it'll happen. I don't know if it'll be in the first half of 2023, but I think there's going to be a very quiet release of Reboot Camp at some point this year.
They should
for
just
sure.
release it digitally, just not make a physical copy. Like a digital release is a much more discreet way to do it, and it's still available for everyone to get.
Just like chuck a tweet up saying like, "Oh, this is out now." Don't like make a big deal out of it. Don't chuck it in a direct or anything. Just like release the game. Although like Michael being the big physical collector,
I would
that he
be very
is.
angry. Yes.
It's all right.
Especially when they
limited run games 6 months later and
Oh,
have them
man.
do it.
All right. So my third prediction is that there's going to be a heap of Pokemon spin-off games released this year. Something that like not a lot of people really pointed out, but I saw a couple of people talking about it towards the end of last year, is that 2022 was the first year since 1997 where not a single Pokemon spin-off game released. Which is just
Wild.
kind of wild, right? Like,
Well,
given how
can I-
just...
Can I interject there on your point? Technically, Legends was a spin-off.
Technically,
Te-
Legends was a main series game. It's,
No, all
it's
the
literally
all the main
called...
series are Pokemon and then Color.
Okay, but not quite. So
Counter argument, no.
in Japan, right, the main series games are called Pocket Monsters, and the side series games and spin-offs are called Pokemon. And Pokemon Legends Arceus was called Pocket Monsters Arceus. So according to Game Freak themselves, and also they said like the next main series adventure on their website. So
I know.
It's
I'm just
officially-
poking fun at you.
officially, but like I think we're gonna get like a Detective Pikachu game, whether that's like a port of like the first one, or the sequel that they promised like 4 years ago.
Just to make this more specific, are you saying spin-off games on the Switch, or are you saying across any platform? Because there could be a bunch that come out on mobile, for example. So
That's
I think that needs to be specified.
I'm gonna say Switch because like technically you could argue that like Pokemon TCG Live is like a spin-off game, and that's like due for a proper release this year. And that just feels like a free point if I say that. So I'm gonna say on the Switch.
Okay.
So yeah, either Detective Pikachu 1 or 2. There's like, on mobile there is like Pokemon Sleep that they haven't talked about in a long time. But like I think that we're probably about due for another like Pokemon Mystery Dungeon game. I think Snap was successful enough for them to expand on that idea a little bit if they wanted to.
New
either way-
Pokemon Snap.
Either way,
Newer.
I think there's going to be at least 2, if not more, Pokemon spin-off games on the Switch. In addition to the Pokemon DLC that it's definitely coming.
That 27th anniversary, why not?
I mean,
Well,
like
they need
Ash
to
is-
increase their Pokemon count. It's not high enough now.
Yeah, Ash is getting the boot from the anime soon, so they might do something to commemorate him.
Getting the boot. Brother finally achieved his goal of being the world's greatest Pokemon master. Getting the
Well,
boot.
And he did it within 365 days
Yeah.
yeah,
because he's still 10.
25 years.
but no, good for Ash for finally retiring at the ripe old age of 10 years old. And good for like the fact that there's going to be like a female lead in the next Pokemon anime. Like, can we talk about how cool that is?
Yeah,
it's
cool.
It's dope. Like, never thought that would happen. So yeah. Angelo, give me a third suggestion prediction.
yeah, so this is a bit of an, I don't know, this might be a bit of an oddball one. I don't know what you guys think.
I just read it.
The Super Mario Brothers movie will feature a post-credit scene setting up a spin-off / cinematic universe. Now, I don't mean like it's going to go like all out Marvel where we're going to see like 3 of these films per year or anything like that. I just mean that like it's specifically, I don't think that they'll probably do a Super Mario Brothers 2 film or something like that. I reckon this is going to be like a one and done sort of film. And then maybe like, you know, at the end of when there's a post-credit scene, there'll be a tease for like, I don't know, a Zelda film or something like that. That'll be 3D animated. It won't necessarily have to be connected directly to this. Like we're not going to see Mario jump in a warp pipe and then he falls out in Hyrule or anything. I just mean like it's going to be setting up like a Nintendo series of films.
I think a Zelda movie is, I would say, a safe bet, but like I reckon it's definitely going to be announced this year.
Yeah.
I legitimately thought you meant like just like with the characters. So I was thinking like Paratrooper, like Saving Private Ryan, Steven Spielberg. It's all based on Paratrooper.
How did you get it?
Good
Where
lord.
did you get that idea?
I think you're probably on the money here, but I think it's like the spin-off is going to be a lot closer, you know, to the existing movie.
Yeah,
And
or
I
it could
think
be like
it's
a
just
specifically
gonna
like a Donkey Kong film or something. Although Donkey Kong seems
I think a Donkey Kong film is 100% going to be it.
The only reason why I didn't say Donkey Kong initially is because I think he features pretty prominently in this film. So
Yeah.
I don't know if he'll get his own film. Like it could be even a Kirby film or something like that and just go into, you know,
Oh,
maybe
God, a
he
Kirby
hops
film.
between
Could
dimensions
be-
and different worlds or something.
It could be a Paper Mario film where none of the bad guys from the Mario series appear, and it's just a stapler.
But I'm just making the prediction. I don't necessarily think it's gonna happen or anything, but I just make the prediction
Okay,
that
but if there's a Kirby movie, which extremely inappropriate actor is going to voice Kirby?
Like, Lord.
know,
I mean,
Appropriate
my
actor.
mind went to somebody, and I'm like, oh, I could say that, but that's a bad one.
No, tell
John
us, tell us, like,
Kevin
John-
Spacey.
oh Jesus Christ, no thanks. Yeah,
I was
Angelo.
gonna say John Voight. He's inappropriate.
John Voight. Oh my god.
I have the perfect voice, and I've forgotten his name. James Woods.
I think if we get a Kirby movie, it needs to be Quentin Tarantino's last film.
Oh my god, we're gonna actually see his feet though.
I mean, Kirby's just
Exactly
one
why.
round body and
Don't do
feet.
that. Good God, you're really making some monkey paw wishes there.
Oh, Jesus
I was just thinking
Christ.
maybe they could do a Princess Peach movie, and then they could do a HD port of that DS game that she was in. She had.
I mean,
'Cause
yeah,
that was awful.
Yeah, I don't know. Like when a film does really well, they just want to keep printing money with that film, right, and making sequels. But I just genuinely think that, like, you know, we've got a Super Mario Brothers movie. They'll probably move on to something else that might be tangentially related, or maybe not even related at all. But yeah, even a Princess Peach film would be good.
Oh, do you know what would be good though? Is a Captain Toad movie.
I reckon that'd work as like one of those Pokemon shorts that they put before the movie,
Yeah, I could see that.
like
Or like a
little Pikachu
Netflix
adventure thing.
series,
Yeah, or
They
a
could do
series,
like
something like
like a villain of the week kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Sorry, when you said Netflix series,
Sure.
my mind went to National Geographic, and I was thinking we're gonna have Toad walking around the real world explaining about, you know, ruins and stuff.
I think a really good post for that pre-movie short will be a Luigi's Mansion thing. I think it'll be really, really cool.
Oh yeah,
That'd be a cool post-credit scene where he, you know, gets away from
Mm.
Bowser or something, and then ends up in this like hiding out this, you know, ghosty mansion place. That'd be cool.
I also think, in terms of like Netflix series, now that we're just like on the topic of like Nintendo adaptations, a Zelda Netflix anime series that like uses the animators and the art style from the opening of Link's Awakening on Switch is like my #1 dream.
Although, like, there was that huge rumor that went around years ago about a Netflix Zelda series.
Yeah,
Another one popped up.
Give Zelda to
early
the
last
same
year.
the same people who did the Castlevania anime, like straight up.
God, yeah.
That would be amazing.
Be the goriest thing in the world.
I'm 100% okay with
Just
that.
cutting up for goblins, stabbing
Uh,
off rocks in the mouth.
Alrighty, Luke, give us your third.
Sure, I changed this just because I thought my third prediction was a bit mean. But I think Switch 2 will get announced in March and then launched in May alongside Zelda.
This.
Wait, so you're saying this year?
Yep.
Good God.
Okay.
They technically did it with the Switch. They announced it officially in January. That was when the big reveal happened, and
What?
it launched. They did the preview thing in October, but they did the thing, but we never really saw anything of it. It was in January of 2017 where they did the event, saying this is what Switch is, this is what it can do, and then 2 months later, March 3rd, the Switch launched.
No, they did a whole video in October showing what it is, and then in January was you can play it now.
Yeah, no, they talked about all the games and all the features and the controller and all that sort of stuff in the January event. So that's why I'm saying, 2-month lead on the console dropping.
I feel like if that's going to happen, they really need to be like talking about it now. At least like letting people know. But yeah, I mean, fair enough. Like we know so little about like how Nintendo is going to approach the next hardware generation that like making predictions is like literally any prediction is valid. Like you could say like, oh, it's going to release in like 3 months time, or we could say like, oh yeah, it's not happening until like 2028, and like both would be equally valid for Nintendo.
How much
we
would
know
it
their
suck?
R&D budget was listed quite high last year, so
How much would it
they're
suck
working on
if they're
something.
like, guys, the Switch 2 is already out. All you need is this Labo kit, and you just attach 2 Nintendo Switches to it. Boom.
I
That would
still
be the
stand
goddamn
by
worst.
that Nvidia hasn't released a new Shield TV purely because whatever chip they're going to jam in there is what's going to power the Switch.
Oh,
They had a pretty clean 2-year cycle for those. There was a 2015 Shield, a 2017 Shield, and a 2019 Shield.
imagine if it's got like a miniature RTX 4090 in it or something.
I'm just
Like
now
that thing
taking
could cure
Angelo's
cancer.
his Labo kit idea expansion, but then you have to mount a 4090 yourself to the back of it.
Yeah, just
So you've got
catches
your regular
fire
Switch and it's
immediately.
just giant.
Just immediately sets on fire.
Goodness me. All right, so now we get into our what we're calling our bullshit predictions, because they're just never going to happen. Michael, give us your prediction that's never
This
going
is-
to happen.
Pure pipe dream just because I want it. And I don't care which one of these it is. Either an F-Zero GX remaster or a new F-Zero game will be announced and released this year. None of those things are going to happen, by the way. Ever. But I would love one of those to happen.
I mean, I don't know. I've never really gotten into F-Zero, but like I really want to, and like actually doing that is like basically impossible now without spending just like way too much money. So yeah.
I
Hope to
want
see-
Zero
they-
AX arcade machine. That's fun.
I want an F-Zero, a new entry to the F-Zero series that's only in VR, so you can like you're just throwing up the whole
Oh
time.
my god. That would be so insane.
Ugh.
The team that made that was Amusement Visions, and they report into what's called CS1 R&D Asia and Japan for Capcom. For Sega. Sega and Capcom have very, very similar naming conventions for their internal studios. But inside that division is the Yakuza team. So they're the folks, they made the Super Monkey Ball games recently. They oversaw those. So given that they've only got 2 games coming out this year, I could see them getting some hands-on and doing a remaster of F-Zero in amongst all their Yakuza stuff.
Actually, it's called Like a Dragon now.
I know that, but most people don't, so I kept with that. Also,
I'm so keen for that. Oh my god.
I just had a weird idea. Pepsi could sponsor it, and it could be called F-Zero, Pepsi Zero.
Jesus Christ! All right.
Every time you
yes.
open it, you get fucking punched in the face.
All right. So my bullshit prediction, and I kind of hope that this happens because like I've really liked what Nintendo's done in the past with this kind of stuff, and that's that Nintendo lets an indie developer make a 2D Mario game. So we saw it with them making a Zelda game, which I never thought would happen in Cadence of Hyrule, and then they let an indie studio remake Advance Wars. So it's like not impossible, but is extremely unlikely because like Nintendo is never ever ever going to give their most precious franchise to anybody else ever.
So again,
Like, it's-
just on a technicality. So the indie team has to have their game published by Nintendo. They're not gonna just like buy Mario Maker and be like, we made a level, right?
No,
We're not gonna
because,
let
like
that-
that's way too easy. Like it's going to be an actual like Mario game that is not built in another game or whatever. Yeah, an actual
Think-
2D Mario game made by I don't know Team Cherry or whatever.
It'd be super
That's never
interesting,
gonna
but I do not think there is a chance in hell that this will happen, like, ever.
You
Well, like,
don't want
what a-
Cadence of the Mushroom Kingdom?
What are like Yacht Club Games doing these days? They're not really doing much at all. They finished their...
Mina.
just-
Something Mina. It's
They
a
only
Game
just-
Boy. Game Boy
They
thing.
only just put out the Shovel Knight
Shovel
game
Knight
on
Dig.
arcade.
Yeah, but they didn't even develop that. They just published it.
No, that was developed by somebody else for them.
So, let them do it or something. I don't know. But I'm just like sorely missing. It has been 10 years since the last original 2D Mario game.
That's fine. There's plenty
Well,
of them.
is it fine because the last one was like New Super Mario Bros. U, which was like kind of garbo.
That's fine. Whatever. They've
So really,
made
it's
100
been
of them.
15 years since the last good 2D Mario game.
We don't need more of them. We've got Mario Maker. Everyone can make their own. It's fine.
Yeah, but
Any
they
game
dropped that so
published with
quickly.
that sweet rounded edge disc is fine in my books.
I still, to this day, not to this, I don't think about it daily, but every time the Wii U pops into my head, the discs pop into my head.
I still like. Does Nintendo have a patent on that technology? Because
No idea. Like,
every single disc developer should be putting rounded edges on their discs.
I'm sure it's more expensive somehow, and that's why no one's doing
It's
it.
definitely more expensive without a doubt, but
Yeah.
it's just so goddamn satisfying.
It's like I'm not like a physical person. I have like 2 Blu-rays. I own 2 Blu-rays. Period.
I am not a
I-
physical person. I am a
Look,
ghost.
I am just entirely a ghost. Yeah. But no, I don't buy physical media, but I would start buying Blu-rays if they had rounded edges. Like, not even joking. Like, if they had rounded edges, I would get involved in that experience. Because it's basically just like a vinyl record, right? Like, but on a Blu-ray.
Yeah.
It's a pleasing experience. Angelo, give us your bullshit prediction.
All right. Arms 2.
Yep.
That's it.
Okay,
That's the
never
prediction.
happening, so...
Never happening.
I mean, it might, but... I mean... Why would they
I
do
think
that?
I think
when
we're
they could just,
likely to get an
nah.
F-Zero game before we get an ARMS 2.
Yeah.
Look, they already struck perfection the first time. They don't need more. It's fine.
That's why they stopped supporting it, because they knew that they could never improve on it. It was
Yeah.
just perfect right
That's
out of the gate.
exactly right.
Luke, your bullshit prediction.
My bullshit prediction is one that I thought of last minute, and then I realized I actually want this to happen. But Atlas announced that they're doing a Snowboard Kids remaster collection, including Snowboard Kids 1 and 2, just so all the people that own Snowboard Kids 2 on the Nintendo 64 complain that their cartridges are no longer as valuable as they were previously.
I mean, I'm definitely fine with that last part. That's for sure. Because those carts are so expensive, stupidly
Yep.
expensive.
Like, I say this as somebody who owns one of those carts. That would make me the happiest person in the world. If like all of the other people who own those carts just can't like make millions of dollars off them. Maybe not millions, but like they just go for like just absurd amounts of cash, and they shouldn't. So yeah, Atlas, bring it back.
So I deep dived into the Atlas group, and they've got 3 teams. The P Studio, they do the Persona games. They're now 5 years between the release of Persona 5 in Japan, and so they generally do like a 5-6 year cycle on their games. But the team they call Team Maniacs, their last game that they released was SMT 5 on Switch. So they haven't done anything in a while. So they could be working on something.
Yeah, probably not a Snowboard Kids remaster though.
Oh, highly unlikely. But I just remember getting donked on the head by those pans consistently
Ow.
in that game.
Ow!
I was just doing some research on this Wii U rounded discs while you guys were talking. And I went onto a Reddit thread and someone exclaimed that they didn't even notice that it was there. And I'm just like, close this thread. I can't anymore.
Yeah. All right. So those are our predictions. At the end of the year, or I guess at the beginning of next year, we'll revisit those and see
we-
how we did.
Can we just quickly, each person just run down that list again? Because I might have gotten lost in the discussions.
Yeah. And when
Just very
Luke
quickly.
goes back to find them, it will be easier for him to to know what we said. All right. So Michael, tell us all 4 of your predictions just quickly.
Off the bat, we'll finally see footage of Metro Prime 4 this year, obviously. Rolling over my prediction from last year that we'll see a release of Wind Waker HD and Zelda Twilight Princess HD on the Switch. That Reboot Camp will release in the first half of this year, 2023. and that will hopefully get an F-Zero GX remaster or a new F-Zero game this year.
And my predictions, just to round them all up, is that Metroid Prime 4 will get a release this year. There'll be, again, quote, fuck tons of DLC for the Switch and not much else. There'll be heaps of Pokemon spin-off games, and that Nintendo will let an indie make a 2D Mario game.
Mine is that Metroid Prime 4 and Nintendo's next-gen console will be announced for a release in 2024. Second one is there will be no Switch Pro this year again. My third is that the Super Mario Brothers movie will feature a post-credit scene setting up a spin-off/cinematic universe. And my not gonna happen is ARMS 2.
Mine, the first one is that Prime 4 will get a reveal in April and release date for September. My second one is ND Cube will announce a new Mario Party game without any DLC plans. Third one is that Switch 2 will be announced in March and will launch in May. And then my not going to happen is that Atlas will announce a Snowboard Kids remaster collection.
Alrighty. Let's talk about the games that we're looking forward to. This is going to be a real long episode, but that's fine because it's the first one of the year. So these are the games that we're looking forward to that are planned to come out this year. Not all of them will make it. Looking at it, I think all of them will make it because most of these are already like close to being out or like have dates for them. But yeah, this isn't limited to just Nintendo games because otherwise Angelo wouldn't be able to put anything in. But yes. But yeah, so this is like, you know, a bit of Nintendo, a little bit of not Nintendo, because we all play things that aren't just Nintendo games. So Michael, start us off. Just go through all of them. We're not going to do like a one by one kind of thing with this.
Easy. I won't really take a long time on it, but from the Nintendo side of stuff, definitely looking forward to Kirby's Return to Dreamland. I think that's going to be cool. Just some great classic Kirby action, which is going to be awesome. Really looking forward to the RE4 remake. I'm also a massive fan of RE4 on Cube, so I would love to see what they have done for the remake side of stuff. Haven't really played any of the other Resident Evil remakes, RE2, RE3. Yeah, I think it should be cool. I'm looking forward to Redfall. I think it looks really, really interesting. Hopefully we'll see more about it next week. Oh, no, this week. From the Microsoft video. And then Black Myth Wukong, which I think just looks really, really cool. I've seen a couple of their videos that they've released. It's exactly like my style of game, just like a great combat, like fighting game. Has some really, really cool Chinese mythology stuff in it, which looks awesome.
I
The
completely
demo they
forgot
released
about.
for that last year was 27 gig. That
Okay,
demo
say
was
it again?
massive.
I was gonna say I completely forgot about Wukong. Dude, I'm so into that game. Also, that Matrix demo was like 50 gigs. Oof.
And it was barely a game.
It was like a 5-minute thing.
Alright, so the games that I'm looking forward to, Silksong, obviously. Still pretty sure it doesn't exist, but you know,
Well,
they
it
say
does
it's
exist
coming
at some
before-
level because you and I have played it.
Yeah, I mean, we have played it.
Is this
But
games
I'm-
that are looking forward to that are coming out in 2023 though?
I mean, like, Microsoft said that Silksong's coming out before June 12th, so, you know, we'll see. I'm also looking forward to Redfall, which just looks so good. Basically just like Left 4 Dead, but with vampires, and you have magic powers, and like, Jesus Christ, that's everything I've ever wanted, so... yeah. I'm looking forward to Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League for two reasons, basically. The first is that I really like those kinds of like brawler games, and like the Batman Arkham series has always been really good for that. And the second is that this is like the dumbest reason, Jesus Christ. They gave Captain Boomerang his Speed Force powers, which is like not something that you often see in any kind of like adaptation media, but they gave him his Speed Force powers, and that makes like me a happy boy. So yeah, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League with Speed Force Jack Harkness. Hell yeah. And yeah, Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe. Butchered that, but whatever. Yeah.
I just love that Suicide Squad. Captain Boomerang is the most un-Australian sounding actor I've ever seen in a game.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not great, but he has Speed Force powers, so I'm willing to forgive it. But no, Kirby Deluxe, very much looking forward to it. It will be the first 60 frames a second main series platformer Kirby game on the Switch, which is kind of damning for Kirby games, but
sorely needed.
This is like the
also
7th
very
Kirby
exciting.
game on Switch as well, so it's been a while.
Yeah. But yeah, Angelo, what are you looking forward to?
I'm really looking forward to Atomic Heart. It's been a while since I've played a real enthralling Bioshock-esque kind of story-driven game, and this sort of scratches that itch and looks absolutely beautiful in a really weird kind of way, weird mechanical way, which I'm really keen for. Unlike Michael, I'm not a huge fan of the original Resident Evil 4, just because I played it way...
We can't all be right.
Well, I played it way after the fact, after I played a whole bunch of other, third-person shooters, which kind of were inspired by this game, and it really improved on the formula. But that said, I really do enjoy the Resident Evil remakes 2 and 3. Thought they were absolutely fantastic, and I'm really keen to see what they do with 4 going forward on that. So, both keen for the same game for different reasons, which I think is going to be interesting for both of us. And Final Fantasy 16. Super keen to get into that. Final Fantasy going back to high fantasy, rather than this weird sort of techno magic kind of stuff, which is kind of cool, but I don't know. I kind of get lost in amongst that and find it very, very noisy.
No, why? I forgot that it was even coming out this year.
Yeah, like what, June? July? Middle of the year
I
sometime?
think so.
June 6th.
Yeah.
Is Final
Genuinely
Fantasy 7 Part 2 coming out this year still as well?
It's dated
Yeah.
for December. It's release window at the moment.
So
I
two
just
big
like-
Final Fantasy games, but this is the one I'm looking forward to.
I was thinking back in like my head, and like literally the last time it was like a proper high fantasy Final Fantasy game was like Final Fantasy 6.
9.
9, I mean, it still had some like sort of technological-ish stuff to it.
No, I mean there was airships, but that was about it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess every game has airships, so-
Six was all technological, like they were riding around in robots and stuff.
Yeah, I guess so. So a 5, I guess. I don't know. I mean, like 9. I don't know. 9 has like electronic lighting, which doesn't really feel like it should exist in an old fantasy.
I don't even remember that.
It does. But I mean, either way, like it's good to see them going back to high fantasy. It's not my kind of thing because I definitely like that techno magical side of things more. But I mean, like the fact that you can just like summon like Giganto summons to just like beat the shit out of stuff. Seems,
Yes.
Like, super fun.
I mean, you guys are both Final Fantasy fans. What about the Pixel remasters coming to Switch? Any interest?
I mean, like
No.
I would be really interested in the Pixel remasters if they didn't have a font that made me want to gouge my eyes out. So, yeah, I'm more excited for the Dragon Quest 2, 3, 2D HD remaster remake. That's pretty exciting, and hopefully we'll hear more about Dragon Quest 12.
Dragon Quest Days in May. Just have to hold out till then.
Luke, what games are you looking
so
forward to?
I have a bunch of games because I play probably too many games. But Star Wars Jedi Survivor. I absolutely adored the first game. I thought it was fantastic. It was sort of one of the best Star Wars games that I'd played in a while. And the fact that it came from EA surprised me because Battlefront 1 and 2 were not good, and Squadrons didn't appeal to me in the end because I love the Rogue Leader, the Rogue Squadron series in 64 on GameCube, but Squadrons just sucked. But yeah, so Jedi Survivor, looking forward to that. Tears of the Kingdom, I love Breath of the Wild, so I'm definitely hyped for that one. Starfield, I fell in love with the Bethesda stuff with Oblivion on the Xbox 360, and I've played Skyrim and the Fallout so many times, so more of that is definitely up my alley. Disney Illusion Island, which is the Mickey Mouse game that is that was
Looks
announced
so
last
good.
year. So it's by the same studio that did the Battletoads reboot like 2-3 years ago. So it's those guys. And Assassin's Creed Mirage. It's dropping off all that RPG bullshit that the recent ones have had, and it's just going back to more of a streamlined Assassin's Creed.
Okay.
Well,
Assassin's
what are they
Creed
going?
sort of
What are they
stuff.
going to put in there to make it 100 hours long, though, Luke? That's
It's
what
not.
I'm worried about.
It's going to be a very small game
We'll
comparatively.
see.
So
That's what
they
they said.
Yeah, they've said that, right? And like I tweeted about this, like, and they said the exact same thing about Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and that's like a 200-hour long game before you get to the
Yeah.
DLC. So like, I'm a little apprehensive, but it seems like they're mostly going to be focused on like the stealth gameplay rather than any sort of combat. So you're kind of limited.
Yeah, the interesting thing, well, I say interesting, but the lead developer for this one is Ubisoft Bordeaux, and they're the folks that did the DLC, the first DLC for Valhalla. I can't remember what it's called.
The
Vista
Siege
something.
of Paris? No, that was the second one, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I can't remember
what it's called. But yeah, so the folks that did that DLC are the folks leading the charge on this game, so...
Did they just like abandon? Sorry, this is like completely unrelated, and it's just gonna make the thing go longer. Did they just like abandon plans to make the what did they even call it? The Phoenix Rising, whatever that was called. What used to be called Gods and Monsters, but now has a stupid name.
Oh, Immortals, Phoenix Rising.
Immortals, there we go. Yeah, like they was like planning to like make more games of that, and then they just like haven't mentioned them ever.
So the Toronto studio was the ones that led the development on that, and they're doing one of the new Assassin's Creeds. So,
right. So no.
Maybe that was one of their 4,000 cancelled games that they talked about.
It very well could be, yeah.
Can I just go back and just clarify? We like the only person who put Tears of the Kingdom down was Luke, but I think that's a given that we're all going to be playing that game.
Yeah,
we're all looking
Yeah,
forward
very
to it,
much
right?
so. 100%.
So it's not like we all
that's-
just ignored it. I think it's just like we're all. It's a given. We're a Nintendo podcast. We're into that game.
that's
I
literally
mean,
why
I think
there's
it's
a category.
pretty clear that anyone that listens to this podcast knows that we fucking hate Nintendo. So
There's in the Vookcast Awards, there was a category of most anticipated game, and then most anticipated game that's not Zelda.
Yeah.
So I had to split it out just for that. So
That's a step ahead of what the Game Awards did.
Yeah. But no, yeah, like I didn't even like Breath of the Wild all that much. I've spoken about it at length on the podcast, but I'm excited for Tears of the Kingdom because like I have a feeling there's like a lot of opportunity to fix a lot of the issues that I had with Breath of the Wild. So yeah, fingers crossed. Very much looking forward to seeing how that turns out. Let's talk about the games we're playing. We're now at an hour. Exciting. Games we're playing. Angelo, do you want to start us off with the games that you're playing?
Yeah. So my partner and I have been going through the Resident Evil series since like September last year or something, and we're currently just at we're about a mission and a half away from finishing Resident Evil 6 at the moment. So
I'm so sorry.
Yeah. So look. So I remember last time we talked, I think you mentioned that Resident Evil 5 was the one that most people didn't like. I actually really enjoyed Resident Evil 5. I thought that was super fun. I think so.
I can't remember exactly what I said. I think it was
I think
RE5 was the one that was like starting to go downhill. But I think RE6 was the one that people hated the most.
Yeah, so I started playing 5 and I think you said sorry then as well. And I was like,
yeah, because they're both
fine.
they're just forgettable, like both of them.
5 is just basically 4, but not as like incredibly off the wall like crazy. But like it was way tighter and I really enjoyed that one. And plus the AI companion Sheva is actually really good. Like she saved my ass so many times. So I actually really enjoyed 5. But 6, oh boy, there are like some moments that I really enjoy.
What was wrong with Ashley in RE4? I don't understand. She was the best.
Oh, I no. Ashley wasn't the reason why I hated that game, or not hated, but just didn't enjoy it. But yeah, RE6. Like there are some moments where I really enjoy playing that game, but there are a lot more moments that I am just like I'm so over this game. It's just such a mess. Leon's missions are fine, but everyone else is just kind of meh. Especially Jake. I hate Jake. But yeah, I'm
in RE5, RE6, they really just embraced fully that it's just an action game.
Yeah, this one in particular, like
yeah.
Every 10 minutes there is some ridiculous explosion going on for some stupid reason, and you're just constantly doing quick time events to get out of it. It's so nuts. It's very much a post God of War sort of era kind of game where like you're just doing quick time events every few minutes. Yep. But yeah, I'm really keen to finally finish this one and get into 7 and then 8 and then obviously RE4 remake, which comes out in a few months. So yeah, that's me.
Alrighty. So I've been playing, some very long games. I've been playing Persona 3 Portable and Persona 4 Golden for a review, which the review will definitely be up very soon. Probably around the same time that this podcast comes out. So, yeah, very, very good games. I think the modernizing that they've done to Persona 3 Portable was like long overdue, and makes it actually enjoyable to play. And Persona 4 Golden is as good as Persona 4 Golden has ever been. So, yeah, And then I picked up Ori and the Blind Forest when it was like $11 on Switch, which is just an absurd price for that game. And then like I used the coins that I got from that and a couple coins that I had left over to get the sequel just for free.
They're really good ports on Switch as well, which is really nice.
Proper like 60 frames a second, super swish, look nice. And I'd never played Ori before, so I've been playing through Ori and the Blind Forest. I think I'm like nearing the end-ish. And wow, I'm absolutely ashamed of myself for not having played these earlier, because good lord, it's just a fantastic game. Michael, what have you been playing?
Playing much, but I did play a whole ton of Played Up recently, which is that multiplayer Overcooked style game, except it's like less like mission based and more like you're actually running like a restaurant, and you have like someone who's, well, it depends how many players you play with, but like you have someone who's out like serving and someone's in the kitchen like doing stuff, and as you like level up, you get certain things happen in the restaurant. So maybe an extra food item gets added to the menu, which complicates things, or maybe you start getting more patrons that come in, or more demanding patrons. It's really, really fun to play with someone else, and you really get like a proper like kitchen, like Gordon Ramsay kitchen based rhythm of like getting stuff out the door, like, you know, making stuff, make sure the plates go out, plating them up correctly, getting them served to customers on time, getting the plates in the dishwasher, like the whole like cycle. It's really, really fun to play.
Nice. Luke, you haven't listed anything here. Have you just not been playing
yeah, because I
anything?
totally forgot about it. But so over the past few weeks, I put in some time into Need for Speed Unbound, and good lord, that game is not good. It is so bland. The worst thing is that the controls, the actual car handling, it's ridiculous. The car tries to self-center all the time. You know,
Yeah.
you try and like turn just a little bit, so you're going off to the side to come up to a big turn. No, car tries to center you back to straight again. It's stupid.
Yeah,
So-
one of the things I heard about that game from a colleague who was playing it is that like the drifting mechanic is just like utterly broken. Like there's just no rhyme or reason whatsoever to drifting. It just like straight up doesn't really work in any sensible way.
Yeah.
Is
The worst
Criterion
thing-
still making those games?
Well, that's the thing. Criterion are the developers for this one. So the last
That's a
few
shame.
years, the last few games were done by Ghost Games, which was out in Sweden. And EA spun that studio up to make them after taking it away from Criterion. So they gave it back to Criterion, and halfway through last year, what was Codemasters Cheshire? They're the folks that did Dirt 5 a few years ago. They got merged into Criterion. So you've got the team behind, you know, Burnout and old Need for Speed games, and then Dirt 5, and they've made this Need for Speed. It's just not good.
It's kind of
So-
ridiculous because like there's one thing that we want, and that's Need for Speed Underground remasters. That's
Yeah.
it. Like just do that. Just like up-res them, and like I will be so happy.
Give
You
me
can tell
a new
though-
Burnout. I would kill a man for a new Burnout. Like, it's so good.
So the guy that created Burnout, he left and started his own company called Three Fields Entertainment. They announced a game called Dangerous Driving, which is basically just the crash mode from Burnout. And people were like, "Oh, that's great, that's fun, but we want more. We want an actual proper like Burnout." So we went, "Cool. Here's Dangerous Driving 2." So, you know, open city. Basically, it's Burnout, like old school Burnout, not Paradise Burnout, just old school Burnout. And then the game just got stuck in development, and then they announced a new game last year with THQ, and it's called Reckonation. And it's just like, okay, but where's the game that everyone wants you to make? It's just stuck in development hell, I think.
Of course.
The problem is that like I
Um,
feel like the Need for Speed series is just gonna get like more like simmy now that like the Project Car series is dead.
I mean,
So-
potentially. The other thing too is that you know, it hasn't been Need for Speed hasn't had a good game for a number of years. I think they sort of lost it with Carbon when they started trying all that, and then they did Underground and The Run. God damn, that was a horrible game. But they sort of started going downhill, and then they said, "Cool, we're going to reboot the series." And they said, "Now you can play this game. It's single player, but you have to be online to play it." It's kind of just made no sense. So, and the fact that this game was announced on October 6th and the game released on December 2nd. It was literally less than 2 months between the announcement of the game and the release. It's like they had no faith in that game.
You're predicting the same thing with an entire Nintendo console.
Yeah, but Nintendo can pull it off.
But yeah, so I've been playing that. I played some of a game called Homeseek. It's like a turn-based strategy survival game on PC that's coming out sometime this year. And then just other things that are just sort of NDA'd, which is always fun. But I haven't been playing a lot. I sort of used the break to not play something because I didn't really want to get stuck into just trying to clear that backlog. That never ends well.
So moving on to 20 questions. I am leading this one. I'll actually get my little counter up. Start asking questions. Go ahead.
Was this game made before the 2000s?
It was not made before the 2000s.
Was this game wait, we say made or released?
Whatever you want.
Released, made.
Okay.
It wasn't before
Was this game released
2000.
2010 or after?
It was released 2010 or after, yes.
Was this game published by Nintendo?
It was not published by Nintendo.
Okay.
Was this game released initially on a handheld system?
No.
Was this game originally released on a disc-based console?
It was not originally released on a disc-based console, no.
Okay. Switch game?
Yeah, it must be.
Okay. So Switch game not published by Nintendo. That narrows it down.
Easy.
Okay. Was this game developed in the US?
It was not developed in the US, no.
Is this a licensed game?
No, it's not a licensed game.
Was this game developed in Japan?
This game was not developed in Japan.
Getting a lot of no's here.
Yeah. Could be Europe, could be Australia.
Could be Canada.
Wait, so did you say America, Luke?
No, I said the US.
US, okay.
Rookie mistake.
Yeah, I know. I realized it after I said it. Okay. Is this game exclusive to the Switch?
It is not exclusive to the Switch, no.
If it's not on the Switch, and you just asked that question, we're so mad.
I mean, okay, so it's not a handheld console, and it's not a disc-based console. So, like, it's gotta be the Switch.
Yeah. I'm just saying I'm gonna be real mad if somehow we missed something.
I guess I did ask, was it originally released on a disc-based console?
Yeah, but there's very few games that get released on Switch then ported back to Wii U. So
I was going to ask it. Was this game released on Switch?
This game was released on Switch.
Okay,
yes.
cool.
Okay. So how many questions is that?
You've got 9 questions and a guess left. Halfway through.
Jesus.
Well, we've been winning so many lately that I had to, step it up a bit.
I wasn't around for the last episode.
Alright. So we know it's a Switch game. We know it was made. Well, it doesn't matter when it was made. It's kind of irrelevant. At least in terms of that question.
Think about some genres.
Yeah.
Is this game an RPG?
No, I wouldn't call it an RPG, no.
Does this game use hand-drawn animation as its art style?
It does use hand-drawn animation as its art style.
Oh, a very specific question.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, Ollie's been
Jeez.
raving about Ori and the Blind Forest, and I'm just like, well,
Oh, surely not.
I mean, I could ask one question that would either confirm that or knock it out completely. But Was this game published by Microsoft?
That is a loaded question. No, it was not published by Microsoft.
How's it a loaded question if that was a no?
Well, you'll know when you know what the answer is.
Okay.
Oh man, hand-drawn art style.
I mean, I can't even think of. I'm blanking now.
I mean, obviously there's the Ori games, Hollow Knight's there. Technically the Rayman. No, that released on Wii U first. Never mind. God.
I'm just kind of stumped on what direction to go from here. All right, is this game a platformer?
I was just about to ask the same thing.
I wouldn't say it's strictly a platformer, but it definitely has platforming elements. I know I'm just supposed to give a yes or no answer, but there's no yes or no answer I can give to that.
So you can jump.
Yeah, sure. If you want to change the question to can
No,
you jump,
no.
then yeah.
That's fine. Okay. Platforming elements.
Okay, I mean, I've got one. Is this game part of a series?
No, it's not part of a series.
Are there any examples of 3D hand-drawn games?
Tinykin?
I don't know that game.
They released earlier last year. It's like a Pikmin style. Sorry, released late last year. I played it earlier in the year. It's basically Pikmin, but with like Saturday morning cartoon visuals. So all the characters always like look at camera. So when you turn the camera, the characters move on the plane.
Okay. Kind of like Paper Mario in a sense?
Essentially, it's Paper Mario visuals, but the camera is a fully 3D world.
Okay.
It's actually very fun.
So what question is that, Ollie?
You've got 4 more and a guess. That was your 15th question.
Okay. We got this, boys.
Hey, we've put our clutch wins before, so.
Yeah, I think you've got enough information to get it. You just need to just really hone in on it.
Okay. So it's a hand-drawn art style.
Cuphead? Could it be Cuphead?
Yeah.
Yeah. Loaded question.
Because Microsoft published it on Xbox, and they also published the Switch version, but then it was published by IM8-bit on PlayStation and that. So,
is this game a shooter?
It is a shooter, yeah. Spend a lot of time shooting.
Did this game get a Netflix animated series?
This game did get a Netflix animated series.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah. I was gonna say. Classic shooter. All right.
I mean,
I think we do have enough information. We've only got one more question, anyways, before the guess.
Does anyone remember the name of the guys in Cuphead?
I was just going to ask.
Man and
Go.
I was just going to ask if this has a sweet big band soundtrack.
Go.
Does this game have a sweet big band soundtrack?
It does, yes.
Yeah. Cuphead. Well,
I always get worried when we get really pigeonholed into an answer that some really weird, like, just out there game is going to sneak up and we're just going to screw it.
Yeah.
Shall we then?
Was it Luke or was it you, Michael? Who?
it was Michael.
It was me.
Yeah, man. It's yours.
Is this Cuphead on Switch?
Alrighty.
Or
So-
pronounce this as written Cuphead.
What? Is it?
Because it has
Or-
PH.
PH.
I didn't even like, get that joke. I was like, what?
Alright, so originally released on Microsoft Windows and Xbox One in September 2017. Then on Mac OS in October 2018. And subsequently on Nintendo Switch in April 2018. This game was originally co-published by Studio MDHR and Microsoft, and now is solely published by Studio MDHR. It is Cuphead.
Nice.
I really thought you weren't going to get it. I was like, this is like
So did I.
obvious enough that like everybody knows what it is, but it's not the kind of thing that you can like really easily get down. But then like Luke came out with the hand-drawn animation.
Yeah, exactly. If that didn't
Like-
come out, that was I don't
Yeah.
no idea what made you ask that question.
Again,
I was just going through hand-drawn games
Ori.
in my head.
Well, see,
Um,
when we we're gonna like go to genre, I was immediately going to suggest shooter, but I'm like, oh, I can't think of anything. So then I went with platformer, which was a dumb idea.
Yeah, which it has like platforming sections, you know, but it's not like strictly a platform.
Yeah,
So-
makes sense.
Why? In my head, I don't know what I classify it as, but I would just never classify Cuphead as a shooter, even though it is 100% a shooter.
Yeah, it looks like a platformer, right? But yeah, like
Well,
its main mechanic
according
is
to the
shooting.
eShop listing, it's an action arcade platformer shooter.
Okay.
Yeah,
I mean, pick a genre, people. At least. But that's why I asked the Microsoft thing, because I remember when it first launched, Microsoft were the ones that published it. It's listed as a Microsoft Game Studios thing, and it was because they had the publishing rights to the game. So and it was one of those. Same with Ori when that first came to Switch. They released it as part of a. They wanted to seemed like they were doing good, so they released it on Switch, and then as Ollie said, now it's just purely Studio MDHR because the deal expired.
Well, that game never came to Game Pass, or still is not on Game Pass at this point, which is a shame.
No.
So fun thing about Ori, I don't know if this happens with Cuphead as well, but I know it happens with Ori. But like you can get achievements in the Switch version of Ori, and they will pop up on your Xbox if your Xbox is on and open at the same time, which is like a super weird thing, but it
I don't think
happens.
that's the case with Cuphead because I've only been playing that. I only played that game on Switch, and I don't recall getting achievements in it. I could be wrong.
I don't recall achievements in it either, but who knows?
That'd be sweet if you could. Holy crap!
If it ties in with your Microsoft account, right?
Yeah, so I had to
Yeah.
log into my Microsoft
Ori does,
account.
yeah.
Also, technically, Cuphead's full title is Cuphead Don't Dance with the Devil. Don't deal with the devil, sorry. Because that's why the DLC is Cuphead The Delicious Last Course.
Yeah.
Which I just think it's hilarious. They made it say DLC.
How long they brewed on that for? I feel like that was like an entire year of like dev time, just
Probably.
like deciphering a name.
All right. Well, that about wraps up this week's very long Vookcast. So be sure to visit the site www.vooks.net for all your Nintendo news, reviews, and everything in between. To keep up to date, follow the site on Twitter at vooks.net, which is all spelled out, or jump on over to our Discord at bit.ly/vooksdiscord. You can find all of the hosts' social information and links for all of the stories covered in this episode, which there are none, so don't look for those, in the episode notes on whatever platform you're listening to. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next episode.